Nick Reiner, that's the son that allegedly murdered mom and dad. He's been arrested, and he's held on $4 million bail. And he seems like he's fucked up. They keep showing very old pictures, like 10-year-old, not 10 years old, but 10-year-old pictures of him. And if you ask me, he looks like gay. He looks gay. He's had trouble with drugs his whole life, ever since he was 15 or something like that. He's been in and out of rehab 17 times. And he's been homeless. So that you can conclude from that, at some point, Rob and Michelle Reiner had said, enough is enough. Get out. We're not dealing with your shit anymore. And that breeds a bit of resentment. That could breed some resentment in a child, even if the parents are right and it is enough and we can't take it anymore. Sometimes throwing the kid out, and especially if they're going through homelessness and God knows what that entails, and drug use, they might build up this resentment that just doesn't go away until, you're stabbing them a dozen or so times and slitting their throats. Yeah. He wanted Genesis. He slit their throats. So this is a more recent picture of Nick Reiner. I think we got the whole family there. There it is. Now, Nick is the private pile-looking motherfucker in the middle. I mean, something looks a little off, would you say? The family's smiling. And then Nick Reiner, I mean, zoom in on his face. You could see his eyes have that dead psycho look. Look at that. Like, where is he looking? He's a little cockeyed, too. The daughter's got a kind of an attractive Jewish princess look to her. But, yeah, that's a guy that stabs his parents, and you go, oh, yeah, I absolutely knew this guy was going to stab his fucking parents to death. So that's what he looks like now. And supposedly he was all clean and sober, but this has always been one of the biggest lies, or one of the biggest things to lie about, especially in Hollywood. You get celebrities all the time and their families. Yeah, no, he's been clean. Like Charlie Sheen. Is Charlie Sheen clean? I don't know. I've seen interviews where he absolutely says he has not done alcohol or drugs in quite some time, and you just don't know. Who knows? They're fucking actors. They act, and they've acted so fucked up on drugs. I love when they do these interviews and they're like, oh yeah, I was completely fucked. I don't even remember the 3, 5, 6 months we filmed this movie. And you watch it and go, wow, I would never have known. Yeah, because they're acting. They're good at it. So who knows? But this guy recently was allowed back in the Reiner home. So you're letting the tiger back in, and this is what you get. Now, why recently? Was he fucked up until recently, and then cleaned himself up to the point where the Reiners decided to give him another chance? How are you in your 30s and you still have to move back in with mom and dad, but you supposedly have been clean for a while? I would assume if he's got to move in with mom and dad, that Rob isn't giving him any of that Reiner money, none of that a few good men cash, misery money. So, and all this will come out. Like I said, Hollywood drools over these stories. Oh, what happened next? Well, Nick Reiner returned to the home of his parents, Rob and Michelle. There was a large kitchen knife. So we'll see. We will see. But brutal from sources inside the Los Angeles Police Department that have connections with Hollywood and TMZ and stuff. TMZ, a lot of these people out there, they have direct connections with people on the Los Angeles Police Department, and they just give them money. And there's sources. There's sources for them. So they're like, yeah, they were murdered. They were stabbed to death. And then there were a few posts I read that said, oh, it's a lot worse than that. So the police walked in, saw shit, and was like, oh, hey, TMZ, oh, boy, wait till you see. There'll probably be pictures. I would guess it's 2025. Everyone's willing to sell anything to get on the internet, pictures on the internet. And I wouldn't doubt we see pictures of the Reiners splayed out on the floor, throats slit. So Rob Reiner made a movie about his, based on his son, Nick. Something like Charlie, whatever. I don't know what the name is. Don't care. Do not care. It was a movie, and a few years back, and they were promoting it, and Rob and his son, the son that would eventually murder him and his wife, were interviewed by Paul Mercurio, comic in New York. He does the warm-up for the Colbert Report show, Colbert Report. And he, of course, is the comic known in O&A circles as the comic that had taken the two people for Sex for Sam to St. Pat's to have sex at St. Pat's, and eventually getting the Opie and Anthony show canceled. Paul Mercurio, also the guy that said, Kathleen, put your goddamn clothes back on, when Kathleen Turner was doing a stint on Broadway that involved her taking her top off, showing her fucking tits. So he did a podcast at the time, and I didn't even know this, but he was doing the show from the Compound Studios. You may recognize the desk. The desk from Compound Studios.
Get anything out of being in those different facilities? Were you able to take anything away long term that's helping you?
You know what I really took away, and I usually bash the programs at A, but I'll say something positive, which is the feeling of, okay, there's other people out here that suffer from the same thing that I suffer from, and they're willing to talk about it. And that's why I think we did this movie, is because we feel it's important to be upfront about this sort of stuff.
So how was it? I can imagine just me directing my son's work and then putting my my nose in, and you're obviously a great writer. So they wrote the screenplay, I would imagine, as a director? You maybe tweaked it in places?
I worked with them. I mean, over the course of a year, I helped.
Was it hard to not to give him his space, and maybe,
what's he gonna do? Kill me?
Change, but leave it alone because he really felt strongly, or how did that? How was it for you working with him?
We hashed everything out. I mean, some things became fights, other things, we hashed it out.
He told me something that was really fascinating to me, and everything clicked after that. He was like, "There's one person on the set that has to make the final decision, whether it's right or wrong. It has to be made, and that's the director." And so after I heard that, I was like, "Okay, I'll do what he wants me to do. I'll try my best on it, but ultimately, it's up to him what gets into the movie."
The other thing was, there were times when Nick would fight for certain types of things, and my first instinct was I have a lot more experience, but then as we went along,
I said I'll let my son take a stab at it.
Experience making movies, but I don't have a lot more experience on this particular subject, and particularly what the young guy is going through. So I told him many times he's the heart and soul of the film, and he would have better insights as to what Charlie was experiencing than I would, and I would defer to him a lot of times.
Look at him. He's all
and
twitchy.
were you
and-
surprised to hear the things that he didn't understand about you, or did understand about you when you were going through that as a result of the process of writing and making the movie?
We both had no idea where each other were coming
Look at
from.
Rob.
And you were saying, sorry, that you.
All right, it's enough. But yeah, there's a studio. Rob, they look uncomfortable with each other. This doesn't seem like a very nice father and son relationship. Like they seem very distant, even though they're sitting right next to each other. You think Rob Reiner would have been fine knowing he was sitting at the desk that the Proud Boys were made at? Hey, Rob, how you doing? You know, funny story about this very studio you're in. Funny story about the show that is there. Funny story about the guy that owns this studio and his take on immigration and black people.